When we have that theology of the Lord has already won the victory, then we're going to want to fight harder and more excited because we know that he's already got the battle covered. And here's what Jesus said. This is huge. I tell people this all the time. He said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So people are like, brother, I have a burden to lay on you. It's heavy and it's difficult to tell you. I'm like, no, thanks. They say, why not? Well, because Jesus said his yoke is easy and his burden's light, and you're laying a burden on me that's heavy and difficult. So I always tell people, if your walk with God is difficult, if it's heavy, and if it's not light, you're doing it wrong.
Going to fight the battle and do these things, sometimes it can feel like you're saying to people, just try harder.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember hearing Henry Nouwen, he had this reflection where he was saying like, man, the world is so competitive, and he was like on a subway in New York, and he was looking around, he was talking about all these words that were around him, that there were images that were speaking to him, and there was one image that was like, spend all your money and come visit me, or others that were even saying like, have sex with me, or all of these, you know, gratifying, fleshy images on a subway that also sort of made him feel like, I'm not enough, you know, like I'm not successful enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not young enough, I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve. And sometimes it's really good to get geared up and just be like, I'm gonna go after that. But there is something too, as a pastor you'd say about being at peace with where God has us now, right? I mean.
Yeah, and I think I'm very energetic. So
I am too, sure.
You are too. So people can watch us talking and they're like, well, they're just psyched about this. They're just happy, joyful people. But what about me? I'm tired. I feel jaded. I feel worn out. This is what Isaiah says. Even the youths grow weary and tired, but those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. I want to remind you, the Lord has already won the victory. Spoiler alert. He wipes all tears off of your face. He is at the place of the skull with the crown of thorns on his skull. He crushed the skull of the serpent, Genesis 3:15, the proto-evangelion. He's already won the victory. Bobby, I've actually never talked about this before in a sermon or on TV or anything, but when you were talking, you gave me this idea. When you're depressed, a lot of times you don't want to get out of bed because you're so buried under all the things that you know you have to accomplish, and all the battles you know you have to fight, and you're like, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm not even gonna start.
Yeah.
If, however, you've already accomplished all your goals in the day, does it ever make you say, I might just accomplish one more little goal? Because it's like a cherry on top of the cake. Like,
absolutely.
I already did it. I'm operating from a place of victory, so I might as well just maybe go the extra mile, which is never crowded. And I think when we have that theology of the Lord has already won the victory, then we're gonna wanna fight harder and more excited because we know that he's already got the battle covered. And here's what Jesus said. This is huge. I tell people this all the time. He said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So when people are like, brother, I have a burden to lay on you. It's heavy and it's difficult to tell you. I'm like, no, thanks. They say, why not? Well, because Jesus said his yoke is easy and his burden's light, and you're laying a burden on me that's heavy and difficult. So I always tell people, if your walk with God is difficult, if it's heavy, and if it's not light, you're doing it wrong. He already won the victory. Let him do all the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah, and of course, when we say Jesus has won the victory, it's easy to hear that means, you know, he's won the victory over sin and I'm going to go to heaven when I die, which is 100% true. That's the most important victory he's won. But we also mean that Jesus has won the victory for that new job you need, that's good, that fix in your marriage, that relationship with your grandkids, the tension you have with, you know, your enemy that lives across the street. God sorted that out. Like God sorted out the issue with you and your stalker. You know, and that he's won that. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like.
Well, can I tell you something about that?
Okay, all right.
This stalker that I was telling you about, he stalked my dad too when I was a kid, and now he has never been able to shut down one event.
Yeah.
And it's funny, they really hit me when you said that, because I'm like, it really got to me for a hot minute there. I'm like, he's gonna shut down my events, and he's never been able to one time, because God got the victory.
You know, and that's it, is at least in my life, there have been things I've grinded away at. And I was like, I need to make this thing happen, especially in ministry, and it just never seems to go the right way. And then the things that go really well is the stuff that God sort of like, I'm ready for it, I'm prepared. All that failure I went through made me strong enough to be ready for this thing. But then it's like, I feel like I'm assisting Jesus. Like, Jesus is the one doing the ministry and I'm assisting him. Jesus is the one working through.
Yeah.
my marriage, and I'm walking with him. Jesus is working with my stalker, you know?
You're right, that's true. And that's why the priests in the Old Testament were not allowed to wear wool. They could only wear linen because wool makes you sweat. And God didn't want the priest to sweat in his presence.
Is that really the reason?
Well, I might be using some metaphorical license.
But what if, yeah.
But I think that, but I do think that's a part of it is wool is itchy, wool makes you sweat.
Yeah.
And God's like, I want it linen, cool. I want it to be light. I don't want you to have to sweat like a meritocracy to earn my presence.
Yes, that's right.
And no, so even when, and I just want to address you right to camera, like even when you're weak, that's when the Lord is the most strong in your life. And you see it. You see his strength in your life the most, I should say. So there was this psychologist named Alfred Adler at the turn of the 20th century, did this study where he was researching art students, and he found that 70% of the art students that he studied had optical anomalies, which means they had eye problems. And he found that the greatest composers like Mozart and Beethoven had ear degeneration. They had problems with their ears. And he thought, why are the art students and the composers, why do the art students have problems with their eyes and the best composers problem with their ears? And he found out something called compensatory ability, that when you're weak in a certain area, you have to pour so much focus into the area of your weakness that you overcompensate and it becomes your greatest strength. So Mozart and Beethoven have problem hearing, so they have to listen extra carefully. They put so much compensatory focus into that it becomes their strength. So when Paul said, when I am weak, then am I strong, that's how the Lord works. We become like who we hang out with, and the Bible says that the Lord is the strong one, so the weaker I am, the more I have to hang out with the strong one and depend on him, and the more I hang out with him, the more his strength rubs off on me, therefore the stronger I become, so when I'm weak, then I'm strong, and actually the area of my weakness can become my strength. So even if you feel like you're not a warrior, good news, where you're weak, he's strong.
Ben Courson here, thank you so much for watching my new YouTube channel. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, share this video with all your friends, and hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. May the hope be with you.